Welcome to Glamour Magic Makeover, where I transform women to feel their most radiant self.
I love this, actually. So here we have Corey's clothes that we are going to be purging and deciding what is in alignment with her highest self.
I'm Emily Parr, and I am on a mission to help women feel like their most glamorous, radiant, beautiful, divine feminine self inside and out.
Fit is the most important thing overall, because if it doesn't fit you, it's not for you. Okay.
For the last 12 years, I've helped thousands of women level up and transform in every way. Stay tuned to see who Corey will be at the end of her Glamour Magic Makeover.
After 20 years in the making, I finally sat down to see The Devil Wears Prada 2 this weekend. Where the first film centers around the aspirations of working in the fashion publishing industry as a fashion magazine editor, this film centers around the decimation of not only publishing, but also journalism as a whole. And of course, how this impacts the overall fashion industry. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the lessons that stood out to me from this film and how it pertains to how the industry is really running in today's world. Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily Parr and I talk about all things beauty, style, and mindset, so please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more like this one. Where the first Devil Wears Prada was all about the looks, all about the fashion, The Devil Wears Prada 2 has a lot more to do with keeping up in a world where things move faster than you can breathe in your Vivienne Westwood corset. The first lesson that stood out to me from this film is that the trend cycle has become ridiculously hard to keep up with. You may think that the fashion cycle is only 4 seasons, but no, it is not. We have the addition of in-between seasons and resort wear. And with fast fashion being highlighted in this film as an antagonist, it is very clear that the trend cycle is no longer sustainable for designers or for the people who consume it to keep up. The first film centers in on the life of a fashion editor at Runway, or in the real world, Vogue magazine. And traditionally, fashion editors were the tastemakers and the trendsetters. They were the ones who determined what styles from the runway each season got top-notch marketing so that real people and real fashionistas could wear them off of the runway in their regular day-to-day life. With fast fashion, things no longer operate that way, and we have shifted away from creating quality pieces that are meant to be preserved and worn forever, like Chanel, and the preservation of pieces that are high quality over consistently throwing out new trends every season that are made synthetically, is actually commented on by one of the current editors at Runway when Andy returns to her job. She says that she has given away her Chanel pieces that she wore when she was a previous assistant at Runway, and the current assistant to Miranda Priestley can't wrap their head around why you would do such a thing when so much of that is very difficult to attain in today's world. Classic upscale luxury pieces are now more difficult to get your hands on than ever, and many are choosing to go the thrifting route, which is also talked about in this film on the download, which is a really big shift away from the first film, where that would be considered a total sin to even discuss or whisper. Which brings me to the next lesson. Gatekeeping and exclusivity is no longer what the fashion industry is made of. The fashion industry traditionally, up until The Devil Wears Prada premiered in 2006, was largely gatekept and was kept in a bubble that was very difficult to pop. In this film, Miranda Priestley, played by Meryl Streep, who is supposed to be the Anna Wintour of this fictional world, has a first assistant that keeps her politically correct. This is no longer about being a size 2 or a size 0. We have to be inclusive for different body types, much to Miranda's discomfort and disapproval. And in this film, it is also very clear that previously, people were not able to just buy their way into the industry, and now they can. This film centers a lot around the real-life troubles financially that magazine and publishing is facing, and how easily billionaires can come in and decide that they want to completely innovate the industry in whatever way that they decide to. The character Emily, played by the fabulous Emily Blunt, comments that the luxury fashion retail sector is actually the only place in the fashion industry that is still making money. And this happens to be 100% true. 20 years ago, if your aspiration was to work in luxury fashion retail, you would simply create a resume, walk into the store, ask to speak to the store manager, and leave your resume with them. They would call you within probably a week or two, and you would go through the interview process and be considered as a candidate. In today's world, it does not work like that. In today's world, you type up your resume to be in alignment with the exact requisites and requirements that is posted on the job posting website. Then that resume goes through an AI filter, and you have to manually enter your resume once again in the company website. Once it is submitted, it goes through an AI revision, and you are likely not going to be contacted for an interview process for at least a month to 6. And if you're wondering why I'm saying it like that, it is because I know it from firsthand experience. And by the way, this does not just go for fashion retail jobs, this goes for jobs way beyond the fashion industry as well. This is the process of finding a job in the depression of 2026. In the past, jobs in the fashion industry were not posted at all, and in fact, they were almost only found through connections. And this seems to still be the case in the land of runway and The Devil Wears Prada too, because both on camera and off, the fashion industry does still value connections over the process of AI filters. And many of the jobs that are posted are not even real. They are simply posted on job board sites to do market research. So when Andy gets a call from the higher ups, from the people who run runway, that is no laughing matter for someone who maybe doesn't want to work in the fashion industry but is in desperate need of a job. The dream of so many people growing up, including myself, was to work for a fashion magazine. And in this film, it is very clear that the money has shifted into the luxury retail sector and into social media and social media influencers. Nigel, played by the incredible Stanley Tucci, comments about how they used to put together fabulous photo shoots where everything was incredibly organized and detailed, only to now post those photo shoots on social media for people to scroll through on their phones while on the toilet. It is not having the same impact that it did 20 years ago. Now, the glamour is still there, but the cost is a lot more. For example, going back to Chanel, a classic Chanel flat bag used to be $3,000, then $6,000, now $10,000, now even more to get your hands on. But the exclusivity around the price might exist, but the actual design itself is not protected, and anybody can go and create something similar and slap their own label on top. This film also teaches us that the identity outside of the fashion industry is key. Andrea Sachs, played by the phenomenal Anne Hathaway, has a life as a journalist where she's accomplished everything that she set out to do, but her entire team gets laid off and it's time to reinvent herself. That reinvention is a really, really key part of this film, and it goes to show that reinvention and that adaptability and keeping connections alive to go back to things that perhaps we've done in the past is one of the most important lessons of this whole film. Because in a dying industry, you have to keep your options open. What I love about the ending of this film specifically, without any spoilers, is how creatively the main cast, Nigel, Miranda, Emily, and Andy, come together to reinvent what runway will look like in 2026. I left the theater feeling quite heavy about the direction of the fashion industry. The glitz and glam is clearly no longer what it once was. The artistry, the creative writing, the physical aspect of being able to flip through glossy pages of a magazine, they may have all died. But where there is death and decay, there is opportunity for reinvention and creation. And aside from the fashion industry, so many other industries are being impacted by the rise of AI and social media. The need now is to figure out who we are in this digital landscape and how we can keep artistry alive. How do we keep things inspiring and fresh and interesting? How do we stop people mid-scroll?
And also, when is gatekeeping and exclusivity too much, and when is it actually needed to keep artistry alive and protected? Because that heavy feeling that I had at the end of this film came from that lack of protection, that struggle to keep art alive. And when times are grim and things are ever changing super quickly, there is nothing more important than protecting art. Because art is at the soul of everything that we do. And without soul, what are we? I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'd love to hear your comment about the current state of the fashion industry and what you thought of The Devil Wears Prada too. And if you haven't seen it yet, go and support your local movie theater and give it a watch. Please make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one, and until next time, stay golden.